Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
We're going to give you a daily dose of dismal Disney.
Well, yeah, yes and no.
It's kind of dismal on Disney's part, isn't it?
Part of it, and part of it's the fans just being assholes.
We're going to talk about Encanto, the animated feature that is actually become quite a big deal on social media. It doesn't surprise me. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda, so of course, you know, it's gonna be. But Luisa, the character of Luisa, Disney did not want to do this body type.
Yeah, apparently, according to one of the people that worked on it, that the animators had to fight to be able to draw her the way they did, because they wanted to make her like, you know, their normal princess type body types. And what's funny is, since the movie came out, she and I think Bruno are two of the most popular characters, and they, boys and girls both, are just loving Luisa.
Yeah, we don't talk about Bruno.
No.
We don't talk about Bruno.
No.
We don't talk about whitewashing either, but we're going to, because this is another part of this video that Twitter is actually creating color guides, color charts, to make sure that you don't whitewash your fanfic.
And this was after they had shitty meltdowns over the fact that because of where they were from, that they should all be a certain type of skin color. And then people that were from that country, or, you know, from that descent, pointed out that, oh no, we come in multiple skin tones.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that because actually Latinos come in a variety of skin tones. I can tell you firsthand. You know. Anyway, we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 254,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. We do talk about the animation industry. We talk a lot about Disney, having worked in and around the company for a number of years. And it's interesting because for all this talk of Disney being progressive and wanting to be more diverse and inclusive, they really don't like big-boned ladies very much, do they? They really don't. And they don't like their guests being too fat either.
Oh, no, yeah, you have to shrink the portion sizes to help their waistlines.
Luisa likes the big portions.
Probably. I do.
She needs the big portions.
So do I.
So she's become incredibly popular with many Encanto fans. Now, disclaimer, I have not seen all of Encanto. I did see part of it. Pinky Boo was watching it. What I saw of it, I actually thought was pretty good.
It is pretty good.
I mean, I only watched like maybe 20 minutes of it. I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's not a bad movie.
Well, I'll tell you what, the We Don't Talk About Bruno song has beaten Frozen's Let It Go.
Yeah, that's shocking. And that's probably not something they expected because it seemed like they tried to like manufacture another princess movie song and it didn't work. But
no,
yeah,
but that one got right. And Surface Pressure that Luisa sings in the movie too is also another big hit that they have from the Encanto soundtrack.
Well, given who worked on the music, that's not really surprising.
No, but I mean, they're both really popular because Surface Pressure resonates with a lot of people, especially people with anxiety. Seeing a theme today. And then the Bruno one's just catchy as hell and everybody's singing it, you know? So they're beating out Frozen, Let It Go. So now you don't have to hear Let It Go anymore, but you have to hear Bruno. But yeah, so it's interesting because a lot of people are trying to find Luisa merchandise and they can't find it because it does exist. I have links to it in the article, but it's not as easy to find as like some of the other characters. And they really went with the Mirabelle and Isabella more than anything else. And a lot of people aren't like buying Isabella stuff because, you know, they keep basing it on when she was a bitch. And then when she becomes like a nicer person and finally like, you know, stops being this perfect bitchy pants, most kids would probably like merchandise of that, but they don't make merchandise of that I've seen.
Yeah, I think Disney kind of, in this case, they really kind of got their marketing all wrong for what was going to be. They didn't realize what was going to be popular. But then the flip side is, with Frozen, they did not expect Frozen to be as big of a hit as it was either.
Right.
You know, it was kind of like yeah, okay, we're going to do Snow Queen, kind of, sort of. It might do okay. And it actually wound up being a huge
Well, that's everything they do. Like Disney for the longest time was Frozen.
Yeah.
You mentioned Frozen. We have Frozen treats, Frozen Airedale, Blue mouse ears, and all this other shit. So I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have a Encanto or something. But yeah, so the people are going nuts over it. But they said like on Twitter, people were talking about it. And this one person who put Lady Glitter Sparkles. Well, I kind of respect that because it sounds similar to mine. My daughter just asked for a Luisa-themed birthday party, and I literally, everything in Encanto has Mirabella, I think it's supposed to be Mirabella or Isabella's face on it. And I'm not in a financial situation to have everything custom made. Disney needs to step it up with Luisa merch. My 3-year-old son was playing with my daughter, and he told me I am strong. Then I asked him, strong as Hulk? He goes, no, strong as Luisa. Oh. So, you know, a lot of kids are loving, both boys and girls, Luisa. They just love her. But apparently, according to an animator, well, somebody worked on Disney, I forget exact title. It was...
Derek... Dylan Ekron, an illustrator and character modeling supervisor,
said, now this tweet has been hidden, I guess.
Of course it has. We don't talk about Luisa.
I think we all just wanted to do it in a way that worked well with the style and really made sense for the character. And I'm really proud of the way she turned out. The entire team was so awesome. I just pushed buttons in the right order. But people were like talking about, I guess they had to allegedly fight Disney on other comments that were made was they had to fight Disney to her to look the way they did because they wanted to go more with their normal proportions, but didn't make sense for the character.
No, she's super strong. I mean, she's, you know, I'm surprised they weren't like, oh, okay, we're gonna make her like this tiny little thing, and then she's, you know. But they're thinking dolls.
So that's probably what
they're thinking dolls. Like, oh, this is going to be an awfully big doll.
So we're losing out on merchandise for her because we're not able to make but they did make dolls of her, and I'm sure they sell like crazy. People are looking for Luisa stuff.
Can't they just get some Hulk figures and repaint them and give them brushable hair and repackage them? She-Hulk. See, Luisa. That's the thing. Maybe they were worried she was going to take away from She-Hulk.
They probably won't even do hardly any merchandise for She-Hulk. You watch.
I don't know, because men might fondle
it's a female character. Well, remember they had that with with Winter Soldier or something, that they weren't doing much of the Black Widow merchandise because they're like, oh, boys don't want to play with Black Widow. And I remember I was so pissed that I was like, say what now?
Hey, when I was a kid, it was like the holy grail to find an April O'Neil action figure. Like if you found April, it was like, holy hell, how'd you find her?
Well, let me tell Disney a little secret. A lot of boys want to play with Black Widow. I'm just saying, you know, a lot of boys out there will probably vouch for that.
I was too old to be playing with Black
Widow. I'm saying today, a lot of guys want to play with Black Widow.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. And that's problematic.
A lot of girls want to play with Black Widow, too.
That is true. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of funny how this, you know, Disney, like when they have a success, they tend to fall into it backwards. Mm-hmm. Case in point, Figment Popcorn Bucket.
Yeah. Oh, no, they knew that was going to be a cluster. They knew it.
Well, just a couple of years ago, they had a survey out there, and they were surveying guests as to whether or not they mind if they just like booted Figment from the parks.
Yeah, people were like, "Hell no, don't you dare!"
Market research.
Don't you touch Figment.
But yeah, the movie's actually, I mean, from what I've seen, again, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but from what I've seen of it, it's actually a pretty good movie. We'll talk real quick about the how these movies have done on streaming. I don't think they have Encanto on here, but a lot of the other ones like Luca.
They don't have the numbers yet.
Yeah, Luca, Moana, Raya and the Last Dragon, Frozen, probably because it's, you know, so new, but they actually did really well. So Disney's, you know, dumping their animated movies onto the streaming platform, and while they might not be making money directly in a roundabout way, they're getting more watch time, which is what investors are happy about, because they say, oh, look how many billions of minutes.
Yeah, they go by minutes. I'm like, really? Billions. So they can say billions. I mean, if we cut it down to hours, it's not going to be as there's a big number.
Disney Plus, billions and billions of minutes watched.
No, billions of seconds. That'll be the next thing. It doesn't get as many views as they thought it should. Well, it got, 1 billion seconds.
That was like Facebook. Like people were getting scammed on Facebook video a few years ago because they were counting a view as like a 3-second. You have to watch it for more than 3 seconds or something like that. It's like most people, by the time they realize it's running, it's like, oh, it's already been, or it's running passively in the background. They're like, look at all these ad views you got. And it's like, no, it's just people didn't get around to clicking off of it yet. They weren't actually watching it. So now I think it's like a 30-second. You got to watch for 30 seconds or more. It's so weird how they gauge, success on streaming.
Well, I can tell you how they gauge success on any of this stuff. How can I paint it in the best light to look like it's successful even when it's not? That's how they gauge success.
Well, speaking of painting.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't even do it on purpose.
Yeah, look at that. We're going to segue right into this. Speaking of painting, you better make sure that when you do your Encanto fan art, that you paint them the proper colors. In fact, there are many, many charts out there on Twitter. The proper shade of brown. In fact, people were saying it's so weird. This is some of the characters in Encanto were too light-skinned. And again, have you Have you actually been around the Latino population? Because it's literally like the most diverse skin tone.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
It's all over the place.
Hell, even I'm white, obviously, and my skin's very pale. My mom, however, has like a medium toned skin. It's like there's so many variations, even across any ethnicity. You know, you might have people who are so, light, they look whitish, and some people that are so dark, they look very, very, very dark skinned, and they could all be from the same race. That's just how, it works. God, these people need to get. So then when that argument didn't fly, then they put out these color charts to make sure you didn't color anybody wrong.
Oh, I've seen all kinds of. I mean, we've talked about this before. Like Twitter loves to color correct fan art. Like if you're gonna draw any brown skinned character on Twitter, God help you, because all these 12-year-olds are gonna descend on you.
They're literally saying with their like eyedropper tool, trying to make sure you have the right color. That's a shade too light or a shade too dark. How the hell? What the fuck? What the hell's wrong with you? Sorry.
What the fudge? Yeah, here you go. This is how you have to do. You have to do it. And they literally will go through your fan art using an eyedropper tool. Luisa, is she problematic because she's one of the lighter skinned characters?
Probably.
Is she problematic?
Well, I noticed when you go back to the other Twitter thing you had, the list, what's under here? Someone they actually whitewashed Antonio because they took a reference in the movie, but then picking the light shade. That's it, because it depends on too, like when the light hits you, your colors change.
Yeah, they make sure that they disclaim all this. I love this. These are all sampled from official character art. The art is 2D, being known, invading lighting and shadows. These are all final designs for the characters. So I'm right and you're wrong. I'm right and you're wrong, everybody. I think it's funny because this person here was like, as Latino, Latin America is a complex composite of cultures, races, and migrations. Please don't minimize our culture to the skin theme. Some of us are descendants from Europeans, Indigenous, and Africans.
Nope. You're not allowed to be. You're not allowed. You have to be the exact colors of the characters, because if you're not, Twitter is going to have a meltdown.
I want to comment this. There are people that blackwash Disney princesses. I saw it on Twitter. Blackwashing does not exist.
Yeah, it does. But, here's the thing, too. This is what they keep calling anything as whitewashing or whatever, right? It's funny to me is because, like, whitewashing a character would be like if you had...
Yes!
Yeah, pretty much. Is like if you had... Someone brought it up. They said if you had, like, Princess Jasmine, for example, and you turned around and made her blonde and pale skin, that'd be whitewashing a character. But people keep complaining, too, like, there's not enough diversity in shows. And it's like, but certain characters are going to be lighter skinned depending on where they're from. So Encanto obviously goes to the darker palette because of where it's located. And they're still having shit. Even if you try to make it, you're trying to fan art these characters, it's not the exact same shade. They're still yelling about whitewashing. You cannot win with these people.
Yeah, it's insane. It's not even worth trying. I mean, honestly, if you're going to post, I would say for any fan art on Twitter, because these people, this is the Tumblr crowd. Now they hang out on Twitter and they're teenagers.
For now, until you have to pay more.
Until everybody goes all in on NFT on Twitter. Yeah. For now, they're hanging out until they can find another better.
You better color those NFT logos correctly.
Anyway, yeah, it's just, I would say lock down your comments if you're going to post art and just be like, nobody.
In general. Doesn't matter what you post. They're going to lose their shit about something.
Yeah, because they're going to dogpile you. I mean, we've seen it. We've done multiple videos on, fan art corrections and all this shit. And like, literally, do you not have anything better to do than to police other people's fan art?
Well, I think it's funny. Like, blackwashing doesn't exist. Have you seen the gingers in Hollywood lately?
Yeah, right.
Blackwashing doesn't exist. They had a bunch of Sailor Moon art that was done where she was African American, or she was like of a darker skin color. I personally didn't care because I'm like, that's up to them if they want to interpret her. But yes, it does exist. Thank you.
No Latino, no opinion. You don't get an opinion. They were like, you're not Latino, so shut the hell up. Mm-hmm. And this is probably the same person that would call them Latinx anyway.
Probably.
Anyway.
Please stop saying it though. Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell. There we go. That's a more Disney version. It's Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell. But yeah, so it's funny how this worked out. But anytime a movie like this gets a fandom on Twitter, hilarity ensues. That being said, I can't say it's a bad movie. I mean, from what I've seen of it, it actually looks pretty good.
Well, that has nothing to do with it. I mean, it's a good movie, but these dipshits on Twitter have no bearing on whether it's good or not.
Yeah, so they had an artist on Twitter make fan art. American users were asking why they whitewashed and bullied the artist. The artwork looks nice. Don't see much of an issue. Shut up, Gringo, 2022.
This is like when they had, Asian artists do stuff and then they kept telling they weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you don't get to tell people that.
No, but they do. It's Twitter. This is ending. I think this is ending. I mean, it's got to. At some point, these screeching 15-year-olds have to move on to something else. And I think they're going to move on to a different platform because, again, they're going to look for whatever's free and easy to use. And with NFTs and Twitter quickly becoming a pay-to-play space, they'll just move on to something else. And they can stay over there. You can, whatever green pasture you find, you go stare at, you eat each other. We'll be fine over here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just make sure you paint the right colors.
Paint the right colors. So there we go. There's our Encanto video. Are we
All
done?
right.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No.
All right, we're done with this one. We're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.